Assalamu alaikum students, welcome to third lecture. In the previous lecture we had discussed in details about chameleons and how they change color, and in this lecture we are going to discuss about the scientific method. um, as you know that there is a proper method that scientists they follow in order to conduct an experiment, or in order to come to a conclusion. Whenever science proves something, then scientists what they do is they follow a method, a proper defined method, which then ends up into becoming into a discovery, or a theory, or a fact, or something like that. So what is that method? There is a This is called the scientific method. The name of the method the scientists follow to discover something is called the scientific method. So let's start today's topic. The scientific method is a special way that scientists find answers to their questions. The method can vary, and different scientists will have different ways to finding answers. The most important thing, however, is being consistent in your own method. So, scientific method is basically this already defined method that the scientists they do follow. The way they follow this method can be different, but this is how the steps are going to be. And but the thing is, they can differ in the way they follow this method, but the most important thing is that they have to be consistent. Whatever method they use, however, how in what way they use this method is going to be different, but they have to be consistent in it. So um, okay, so why do they follow scientific method? Because to find their answers to their questions. Because uh, as I've already told you that this universe is so huge, so big, earth is so big, universe is so big, so huge, that science is discovering things on daily basis. Scientists are working on this earth and trying to discover things that are present on earth on daily basis. Research is going on different fields, that how this universe is actually working. So there are a lot of questions, when you look around, when you step out of your home, you're just going to see that how are things functioning, how is this earth rotating, how does this day and night they form, they come and go, and how does how do all this universe works. So there are questions, there are so many questions in people's minds. So this is the job of a scientist, to find answer to these kind of questions. So now science is progressing so much, it has developed so much that it has answered so many questions of ours. So let's see what is the method that scientists follow. Question and purpose. So first of all, they have a question in mind. And whenever, if you for example, if you see something new, if you find something new, or if you get something new, you know if you buy a new toy, or if you get something that, if for example your parents buy you a new toy, so first of all you're going to question your parents that, oh, how does this toy work? I mean, how am I going to use it? If you are going to buy an automatic car, a toy car, then you're going to then you're going to search for it, then you're going to look that, oh my god, how this is going to function. So you're going to question things. So similarly, when scientists they find something, they question, okay, this I have found, so now how does this thing work? What is the science, what is the logic behind it, what is the purpose of it? I mean, if it is present on earth, then what is the purpose of it? Because when people there were earlier people were not aware of all this thing and all these discoveries. So some of the scientists like Einstein, Newton, these huge scientists, they started questioning things, that okay, now how is it possible that everything is, it remains on the earth's surface, it doesn't fall, or it doesn't lingers around. How is it that, so scientists they asked questions, they were curious about things, they were asking about the purpose, that okay, what is the purpose of this thing? Then and this led to so many discoveries. For example, earlier there were no cars, there was no means of transport. Now as we are progressing, as scientists are discovering more and more things, so they are developing more and more things, because they say, okay, this is how it is functioning, or the how is it possible that, the whether the how many planets are there in the universe, and how is that universe functioning, and scientists are still trying to figure out if there is earth, if there is life on any other planet, and how many galaxies are there. So there have been so many discoveries. So first of all, what the first step is, question. You need to ask questions about it. So the scientific method starts when you ask how, what, when, who, which, why, or where about something that you have observed in the world. So when you're going to look at the universe, I'm sure that all of you must have questions about the universe. Okay, at some point of your life you must have asked your parents, okay, how is it possible, how are we born, why are we born, what is the purpose of this life, or how is this universe functioning, how is it possible that airplane is flying in the air and it doesn't fall from air, how it stays up there, how a car moves, or how come it doesn't come in night, and how come sun goes away at night, and all these questions. So you see how, who, which, why is it happening. So they ask questions. The scientific method seeks to answer these questions by measuring or observing. So when they first of all they ask question about something, then they start observing the thing. Like for example, I gave you the example of car. You bring a car, you bring a toy car, you open the box, you look, you first of all you want to say, okay, how is it going to function, then you want to say, okay, now just let me observe it, there must be something here that can tell me that, how is it going to work. So you're going to observe it, you're going to look at it from all points of view, you're going to look at it from what point, you're going to measure it, you're going to observe it thoroughly, that okay, this is how it's happening, or this seems like this. So you're going to observe it from all the points of view. Then the second method is research. A clever scientist will not answer their questions from scratch. They will use the library and the internet to conduct research and find the best ways to do things, and to make sure they do not repeat mistakes done by others before them. So because this earth is so huge, Allah has made this earth so big, this universe so huge, that I've already told you that discoveries are going. Scientists are researching things on a daily basis. It's not that if science has proven something, then it's the ultimate end of it. It's not. It's not like that. Every day, science is evolving. They're discovering new things. They're even making changes to the theories that were predicted by scientists in the previous times. Things are evolving every day, so scientists, they have to conduct research, and they have to consult the if somebody has told that, okay, this is how the universe is functioning. So now this is not the end of the world, or this is not that, okay, this scientist has already told us that, okay, this is how the universe is functioning. No, but then there are other questions as well. So science, this is science keeps on evolving, science keeps on questioning, science keeps on discovering. So that's why research is important. So whenever something new is researched, because things are interlinked in this universe, nothing is absolute. So the things are interlinked. So what happens is that when a scientist conducts research, it is not he is not going to say that, okay, this part of it has already been discovered, now I'm going to just look at this part of it. That's not how things work. You're going to see that, okay, you're going to say, look at uh, you're going to search for so you're going to start from the beginning. So for example, if you are bought a car, you're going to open the manual, and you're not just going to jump to straight away to the way how do this. So you are going to read the whole thing, that I have to put these kind of batteries in it, I have to put batteries over here, this is the button where it's it starts from, and everything. So scientists, they start from things from the scratch. They search about they research about it, they read and they learn about what the previously has been discovered, they read about it, and then they add more knowledge to it, and that they are their observation, their thinking to it. And best scientists, they do that. Okay, and because so that they do not repeat mistake, because we are human beings and we make mistakes. So whatever human beings they have discovered, they have done it by making mistakes, and ultimately they have reached to a point, and they have reached to a discovery. So once that mistakes have already happened, the people have already made those mistakes. After that, what happens is that, then you're not going to repeat the mistakes. Then you have to learn from their mistakes. Then you have to see that, oh, okay, now this person has already researched about this. This person has already conducted this research about it. Now what I need to do is I need to just read about it. I need to read about his mistakes, and I'm not going to do it. I'm going to start off from where he left, and I'm going to make sure that I don't perform those mistakes. That's why it is easier as well. When you are going to research, when you're going to learn about something, things become much more easier. Otherwise, it gets more complicated. Okay, so this is very important. Research is important because it helps scientists understand things, and they do not have to repeat mistakes that other people have done before them. Now the third step is hypothesis. When you make an educated guess about the outcome of a research, it is called a hypothesis. A hypothesis basically means prediction. You know, you are now you have questioned something, you have researched about it. Now you're going to say, okay, I think that if I do this, this is going to be the result, and if I don't do this, this is going to be the result. So you make kind of predictions in your mind when you have researched about something, when you're going to discover something, when you have asked the question, then you make a prediction about it, and then you're going to act upon that prediction. Then you're going to test that prediction. So like for example, okay, a scientist believe that, whenever okay, this how does water changes, what happens when water is boiled. So a scientist says that, okay, if I boil water, then it will change into steam. So this is a prediction. So now what he's going to do, how is he going to test his prediction? He's going to perform a practical test on that thing. So hypothesis is basically prediction, that okay, now I have researched about it, now this is the prediction that I'm making. I am thinking that this is how this thing is working. So it has an explanation of what you think will happen and why you think will happen. So now you're just not going to predict like that. You have to give a reason that why do you think this thing is going to happen this way. If you are making a discovery, if a scientist believes that, okay, this is how research has happened already, but I think this thing can be done this way as well. So now you're going to give a reason, why do you think and how do you think will it happen. So these are the questions that you have to answer. So hypothesis must be stated in a way that can be easily measured. Measured means that you are going to give a practical approach to your thinking. You are going to practically, because science is about practicality, you have to do things with your hands practically. And so what you are going to do is, you are going to say that, oh, I have predicted this thing. Now what I need to do is, I need to perform a test, and I'm going to see that my prediction is true or false. So you have asked question, you have researched about it, you have predicted something. You're going to tell the reasons that this is, I think it happens this way, and you're going to tell the reason how do you think it is going to happen this way. So now what you're going to do, and you should be very clear in your mind with every aspect. You should not have doubts in your mind. This is very important. That, when you have doubts in mind, then you cannot perform the things. Because when in order to measure something, in order to practically do something, then you need to be sure of what you are thinking, what you are saying, and what you're going to have all the things in mind, that okay, this is how I need this to do this, and this is how I'm going to perform this thing. It must be clear, because it will help you find an answer to your original question. So if you are confused about it, if you're not going to show if you're not sure about it, then the question that you initially asked will not be answered. So once, it's not easy to be, everybody cannot be a scientist. A scientist has a vision. A scientist has a reason to do things. So the next step in the scientific method is experiment and observation. So once you have made an hypothesis or made a prediction about about something that you have done research on, or scientists have done the research on, then they conduct those experiments on the basis of their hypothesis, and they observe the outcome of their hypothesis, and it can be true and false depending on different conditions. So if their hypothesis is true, then they say that okay, what we predicted was true, our hypothesis is correct. But if their experiment results is not according to what they predicted, then it's a false hypothesis. So this is called experiment and observation. An experiment is used to test your hypothesis is it true or false. The experiment must be a fair test. Fair test, which is when you change. What is a fair test? Which means that when you change only one condition factor at a time while keeping all other conditions the same. So when a scientist performs a test or an experiment on something, he doesn't entirely change the whole process, or he doesn't change all the conditions of the experiment. He changes one factor at a time, and then he observes the results. That okay, if I change this condition, what is going to be the result of the outcome? Or what is going to be the outcome, and if I change the other factor, then what is going to be the outcome? Because if we change the whole process, then the method, it doesn't do justice. It doesn't remain that way. So scientists, they do change one thing at a time, one factor at a time, and it is called variable. We are going to discuss it further in the further as we go along in this lecture. So experiments should be repeated several times to see if results will differ. So you don't conduct experiments once. Scientists, they conduct experiments a lot of times to check whether the results they differ, or the results they're getting are same every time they conduct an experiment. So that gives more accuracy to their experiment. Otherwise, if they have different results, then the accuracy is disturbed. So in order to get an accurate result, they have to conduct experiments again and again. So you can compare the results to your original hypothesis. So, and also, if you what and when you conduct a lot of experiments and you see that the results is coming the same, then you can say that okay, with surety, that okay, the hypothesis that I made was correct or it was incorrect. When the result is according to your according to what you predicted, then your hypothesis is correct, and it is your it it justifies your original hypothesis. But when it is incorrect, then you say that oh, I have my hypothesis is wrong, it's not correct. Then is analysis and conclusion. Once your experiment is complete, you must analyze the result. This will allow you to see if your hypothesis was true or false. If you find out that your hypothesis was false, then you need to make a new one and start over the scientific method. If you discover that your hypothesis was true, you will need to test it again, and just to make sure that there were no mistakes. So your predictions can be wrong and right. If they are correct, then then you can say that okay, whatever I predicted, whatever the scientists have predicted, that was correct. My hypothesis was correct, and you don't need to go through the process all over again. And if you discover that your hypothesis was false, then you need to make a new one. You need to you need to change your hypothesis. You need to see that whatever you are predicting, or whatever reason that you are saying, there is some fault in that. So you need to change your hypothesis. You need to do more research about it, or you need to learn more about the things, or you need to change your hypothesis. So um, these are the 5 steps that scientists they use to perform any kind of to find any sort of method. This is called the scientific method, and it has 5 processes. Question: first of all, there's a question that has to be answered. Then scientists they conduct a research upon it. Then they form a hypothesis. Then they uh, conduct experiment over the hypothesis, and then they draw a conclusion from it, which can be correct, or which can be correct or false depending on the experiment. So this is the chain. The question to propose a question, then research about it, then hypothesis and experiment and observation, measurements, calculations, everything, then conclusion. So now let's see what is a variable. As I've told you in this uh, experiment and observation, that the experiment must be a fair test, which means that you need to change only one condition or factor at a time, while the other condition should be intact or should remain the same. So let's see what a variable is. Variables. A variable means things that change, or a factor that changes. A variable is a condition or factor that is a part of hypothesis or experiment. It can change or be changed. Experiments usually have many variables to consider. When conducting an experiment, it is important to change one variable at a time to avoid confusion. The best way to show the results of different variables is by using graphs or tables. So there is a there are different types of variables. For example, temperature. If the research is being conducted about, if a scientist conducts research about something, for example, it includes temperature, then temperature is a variable thing. Time is a variable quantity. All these things are variable. Speed is a variable quantity, that it doesn't remain the same, it changes. If you are going to measure the temperature of something, for example, if you are going to measure the temperature of a person who's not well, who's having fever, then the temperature is going to be different. But if you measure the temperature of a normal person, then the temperature is going to be different. And if you measure time, it is also different from different in different places, different areas. So these are variable quantities. So what scientists need to do is that they need to um, uh, they need to evaluate these variables, and they need to change one variable at a time. For example, if something includes time and temperature and speed and all these things at a time, then they need to change one. They need to either change the speed, or they need to either change temperature, or one factor at a time. These things are called variables. So, and the best way to show the results of these things is by using graphs or tables. So you need to draw graph. As you can see over here, there's a graph drawn on the board, and they're conducting a research, and they're showing the results on a graph, or on different types of tables, or in the form of pie charts, or different other things. Okay, so hey, let's vary the experiment. Let's see how, for example, these two kids, they are performing an experiment, and they're saying, this one is saying that, hey, let's vary the experiment. Let's see how long it takes to get a can to 0 degrees Celsius in icy water without salt. So great idea, he says. uh, and he says, next time we could test more than one soda in each, so that we can get average temperatures. So he says, great idea, Jason. So as you can see, the temperature over here is a variable, which can be changed, or it can be changed, or it can change or be changed. Like, you can also change it, or it can change on its own. So the temperature of two cans on a different conditions will be different. So they are saying that, if he's saying that, if I if, let's see that, if we can get a can to 0 degrees Celsius in an icy water without salt. So he says that, if I take a can of water, and if you observe that how long it takes a can to go to 0 degree in an icy water without salt, there's water present in salt. So he says, okay, fine, let's do this. Then he says, okay, now what we can do is, after conducting the experiment, he says that, now next time we're going to see more than one soda in each, so that we can average temperatures. So in order to conduct a research, we have to, I've already told you that you have to perform multiple experiments on multiple times, so that you get in you because it is normally like that you don't get the exact result every time you perform an experiment, so you get different results. So what the scientists do is, they they draw an average result out of it. So what is the average result? That is going to be the result out of it. So they conduct experiments on multiple times. So that's why he's saying that, let's use more cans, so that we can get average temperature out of it, and that is going to be the temperature, because slightly the results differ every time you perform an experiment. So what other ways can you vary John's experiment? you do it using the same scientific method. So this is something that you need to think about, that they are performing an experiment, and what are the other ways that this they can change the results of the experiment, or they can vary their experiment. So this is something you need to think about. But this is an activity, you don't do this at now. We're going to perform this activity when we come to school, and then we're going to see that how things practically, we're going to apply this, and we're going to perform an experiment. We're going to practically see how do results change, how do variables change, and all these things, and how these steps we are going to see practically in school, but you can do this at your homes as well. So in today's lecture we have learned about the scientific method, and what are the steps of the scientific method, and you need to revise all this at your home. And I'm going to see you in the next lecture, so take care. Allah Hafiz.